Hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing what if Deku was a Ghost Whisperer Part 20. Before I start, my other what if, it feels off. It's mostly because I was in a rush and I needed to do some stuff before I get back. Seriously, it was about on 2 hours until this what if come up. For me, actually. For you guys, it probably feels so different timing. But it makes me realize how much it feels empty without any music in it in my other series, of course. But I do need like a week or less to find the perfect song to describe what he is feeling and all of that. I'll put more detail into it the next part on that series. With that said, let's get into this one, shall we? Last time we left off was here. Hakakure feels so happy that she did that kind of motion that she, without thinking, let go of Zuko's hand, touch her face, and look over to the mirror again, and she sees nothing but her clothing, like she always do. She says, "Aw," and Zuko tries not to smirk or laugh because this is very serious, and ask her, "I'm sorry, but you have to hold hands with me to keep it up here, make yourself see yourself." Which Hakakure said, "Oh, okay." And she grabs onto him. Zuko did the thing, off and on, and she can see herself. And Zuko explained his theory and how he came up with this, which she's understanding, but more looking at herself and seeing if her parents were able to see her. That's the only reason she's able to be not a mess, you can say. And well, yeah, that's basically what she's just checking everything, how it looks, and seeing her face, actually seeing it, and not worry about anything about herself. And she kind of looks over to Zuko and said, "And you see," she points to her face all around, "this every time you look at me?" And Zuko said, "Yeah. I just wanted everybody else to see how gorgeous you are." Which Zuko kind of blushes about. And Hakakure, never been called gorgeous before, really put a huge tint of red on her face. And Zuko thought of a plan of having her coming after her training, and we can do this all this time for you to get used to the feeling of being up here and not up here, that maybe you'll figure out how to solve it or how to turn it off. Which Hakakure is very happy that he thought about how to fix her quirk, which she thought it was a curse and she had to live with that curse forever. But now she gets it and very happy about this. She actually gets up, and Zuko asks if something's wrong, he sees her tearing up and kind of crying, and she rushed towards Zuko, giving him a huge hug and holding him tightly and saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," to a point where she said so quietly that Zuko, without thinking, actually hugged her back, feeling her warmth, how soft she is. And yeah. The next morning comes up, Zuko gets back to his training, and Hakakure do it as well too. Why can't I say that sentence correctly? Anyway, at that night, they were given a surprise visit. Well, basically, I forgot what day I left this on, so it's Friday now. After their training, Zuko learned how to use his ice, but it's more of a drawing a more like Todoroki style of making a flash motion in the air, and it's only a slice in the air of ice. I don't know what it's called, so sorry. A wave of ice, basically. Which Zuko is just happy that he made a new move, but he needs to master it before he can put it into combat. Now, everybody was given hands and do the courage. Walk in the courage of forest, cave forest, something. And Zuko was somehow one extra away. He had to go by himself. But before this happens, they see blue flames coming out of the forest. Everybody panics and try to warn everybody to get back out into the center. But hearing people screaming, which they thought was just the Class 1B scaring Class 1A. But it was more scary screams, more in-depth and terrifying. Until someone attacked one of the pussycats, and it shows it's the villains. The League of Villains. Everybody now panics. The teachers are get up and get ready for all of this. Until one of them said, "Where is Koda?" And Zuko actually tells them that he knows where he is. He remembers at the time that his parents told him where he usually likes to be at when he wants to be alone. Now, Koda was about to walk away because he feels a little lonely. But that moment, Muscular came by and saw him. Muscular asked the little kid where he is at and asked for his hat, since this stupid mask is very annoying. Until he removes his mask and shows Koda who he is, Koda is crying out loud, in which Zuko gave him enough time to find the source, and immediately went there with a glow up. Not like on the picture where Zuko is lightning, it's a glow throughout his whole body, being in his ghost form. Asking Koda if he's okay, and when Koda points towards Muscular, Zuko looks at it and sees him. Zuko immediately gets into a fighting stance and telling Koda to run or do something, which Koda is just standing there in shock, not knowing what to do but just watch. And Zuko is telling this man to get away or stop or anything, but Muscular said, "An eye for an eye. I don't mind killing these runts of those heroes." What were their names again? Water holes. "I don't mind giving them their son back," as he cracked his fingers. Zuko looks over to Koda's parents and asks, "Is he the one?" And they said yes. And Zuko never seen this before. When he looks at Koda's parents, they're like a cloak of red around them. And Zuko only seen this happen once and did not like it. He told them both to calm down and protect Koda. And they don't know how they are trying to get him or push him, and they're just fading through. Zuko immediately used his ghostly powers on them both, where they both appeared. Muscular said, "Oh, I see. This will be fun." And when Muscular finally jumped towards them, Zuko mashed them into Koda, which gave them enough power to move Koda out of the way. With their training and their experience of being alive, took over Koda's body itself and forced him to get out. But when Zuko was his back turned, got the full brunt of the force fired by Muscular into the mountain, hitting it and making a huge indent. Which it surprised Muscular, seeing that this kid just looked like he said, "Kid, are you serious? You're trying to be a hero, but you can't even handle my punch? And this was my weakest," as he's bragging about it. And Zuko, coming out of the rubble, coughing up some blood, and said, "I wasn't ready." As he moved back his hair and said, "Let's start over." And Zuko did a flash towards Muscular and did a huge smash into Muscular's face, replaying that very thing that he felt to Muscular. And Muscular hit the wall but did not leave an indent. Muscular comes right out and said, "You hit like a girl." And they went at it. Punches for punch, blow for blow. Zuko is matching Muscular to the perfectly. But Muscular is dealing all the punches that Zuko's taking and doing, and it doesn't feel anything. But Zuko, he's feeling every brunt, every force, and it feels like he's getting hit by a truck. But Zuko kept going and going, knowing that Koda is out of the way, and he went full force, focusing his power into his punches. Now, since they were boosted by the physical aspects of all for one quirk, one for all, yeah, he was only doing muscle or a forcible. Basically, his punches were not affected by his ghost quirk yet. But when Zuko finally lit his hand fully glowing a bluish green, and finally threw another punch at Muscular, Muscular felt the blow, and it didn't push him back. He is fully prepared for all of his punches, but he wasn't prepared for is how hot it was. He see his skin kind of burning or charring like coal in the fire. And asked the kid, "What is your quirk?" This is the most fun I ever had in a fight. As he went back into the fight, punching Zuko, and Zuko was taking it, learning Muscular fighting style, and saying it's almost exactly like All Might's, which he fought with Gran Torino, and he remembered how to fight like that. So Zuko got rid of his legs, turned into more of a ghost, and started flying around, dodging Muscular's punches. But right when they flew right past his face, Zuko punched it right on the arm, not his face, but on his arm, and it burning the muscles to a point where they can't regrow. It's too painful for Muscular. And he winds back, Muscular himself winds back and said, "Oh, dude, kid, that hurt. I guess it's time for no holding back, I guess." As he fully encased himself with muscle after muscle fiber all over his body, and then throw a huge punch at Zuko. Zuko, without missing a beat, phased right through it, with Muscular drawing all of his brunt force into one point, with the full brunt of the force expecting to hit something, but not. He went straight to the mountain, hitting it, going all the way in, fully encasing himself in the rubble that he just created, and he's buried by all the rocks. Zuko by then thinks it's over and was trying to look for Koda, but he couldn't find him. But he feels a shaking of the floor, a rumble, as you can say. It feels like an earthquake, and so he looks back and see Muscular climbing out of the rubble, breathing heavily, but showing that he is not stopping. And Musker is coming out, instead of fully encased, having one arm raised, his left arm raised as high as he can, fully encased with muscle fibers, and said, "Kid, I don't know what you did, but I'm not gonna hold back. Better take this hit, or your friends will be taking the brunt force." Zuko looks back and sees that Koda is actually standing right there at the edge. Seeing Koda there, sorry for this pause. You saw what happened. I don't want to explain. And realize that Koda saw everything, and also sees that his parents are not in his body anymore. Asking where is his parents, which Koda doesn't know where, but sees his parents going into Zuko's body. Zuko feels the brunt, the force coming in, not welcoming it, but feeling it that they're trying to give him something. Zuko asks them what they're doing, and they just say, "Wait, we want to give you our quirk. We can feel ourselves passing on, and we just want to make sure you have our quirk." Zuko explained that I already have it. Please leave. I need to focus on this. Muscular is laughing at all of this and not missing a beat. Start charging over to Zuko from 5 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 1 yard, until Muscular was right in front of Zuko's face. Zuko, finally having enough control to take over his body, threw a huge blast, swiping left from his right hand to making a left motion, pushing an ice slash towards Muscular, which Muscular was so close that he could not dodge it, and he thought he was going to be able to cut right through it, but it didn't. Muscular arm, right when he touched the blade, he felt burning sensation throughout his whole arm, but it wasn't a burning feeling. It was ice freezing up his whole arm, encasing it in a huge block of ice, and this kept growing on his arm. At this moment, the slash that Zuko did, forcing out his Kota's parents out, and Zuko is now kind of breathing heavily as Muscular is asking, "What did he do? What did you?" And he froze completely. The full blast of Zuko's slash did not cut him. It wasn't meant for it. What it did do was fully encase Muscular in complete ice cube. And these are the glacier ice, where it's impossible to break. And Muscular is trying to move, but with his muscles freezing up with it, it feels more painful as it's going on. And when it gets to his face or his chest, it froze him so much that he couldn't say anything. And to that point, in a flash of light, he was completely covered in a block of ice. Zuko, panting heavily, looking at what he has done, and asking what has happened, and he looks over to Koda's parents. "And why did you guys have to do this?" And Zuko sees them glowing in a light, very light yellow color. And Zuko said, "Oh, I see." And Zuko looks over to Koda and asks him if he wants to see. Koda said, "See what?" And Zuko said, "The last chance to see your parents before they go." And Koda said, he reached out for his hand. Zuko grabs it with his left, showed Koda that what he sees. and Koda sees his parents happily together, smiling at Koda, telling him everything that they want Koda to be. And the very last words is, "Be the greatest person that you can be." And they disappear right before his eyes. Koda started crying. Zuko, kind of tired, kind of wanting to fall asleep, but he knows that he had to take Koda back. Having Koda wrapped around his arms, and he's flying towards the camp. Moving on to Zuko and Koda again, leaving Muscular there in the mountain, completely covered in ice and not able to move. Zuko finally gets down to Aizawa and tells Aizawa that he fought one of these people and they were here for something. I didn't know what he was saying, but he was here and asking Koda for questions, which Koda said that he asked for a kid, someone named Baku, and Zuko said Bakugo. Oh no. And he immediately gave Koda right to Aizawa. He tells to Koda, tell everything you told me or what you heard from Muscular to Aizawa. He will explain everything. And he run off. With Koda in Aizawa's arms, Aizawa is looking over to Zuko, seeing how frightful he looks. And Aizawa looks down, asking the kid, "Tell me everything," which Koda did. And now Zuko here in his mind by one of the pixie bots, I guess, flying towards the next group. Sorry. As he over here in his mind by Mandalay or whoever, saying that the villains are here and they're targeting students by the name of Bakugo. So, if you are Bakugo, please hurry and get to the main site so we can protect you. And then, after that happened and Zuko gets to Tokoyami and see what's going on, he got attacked by Dark Shadow, where the armed guy came and tried to protect him, but when Zuko got touched by the armed guy, he immediately turned intangible, for Dark Shadow won't hit him. They both hide in the back of a tree, and the armed guy said, "Oh, I forgot you can do that." Zuko asks what's happened and learns that Tokoyami was so scared and that he hurt his friend. Seeing blood, it just angered him so much that Dark Shadow took over, and this is what has happened. It's going into a rampage, as you can say. Zuko gave the plan to the armed guy to take it to the explosions, and they do. Which Zuko is now running right by the armed guy, not getting held by anything, but making enough explosions on right and left. He has a glowing green aura. He can't really glow any brighter. He can't. But Zuko just makes sounds as he goes for Dark Shadow to take over and hit every spot, getting closer and closer, inches away, but just enough where the armed guy yells to Tokoyami, sorry, and tells him to let Dark Shadow to follow them. "We have a plan." And Tokoyami said, "Okay, I trust you," as he let Dark Shadow go wild into a rampage, crushing every tree that's in his sight, all the way towards Bakugo and Todoroki, which they were being yelled by the armed guy. I can't fucking remember his name. And he tells them to let out the biggest amount of flame, light, to calm down Dark Shadow. But when Todoroki finally was about to throw some fire, Bakugo told him to stop and said, "Wait," which with a huge slash from Dark Shadow's claw going all a huge area from the right side to the left, hitting the moonfish, the one that has these teeth coming out of him. Teeth for blades. Blade for teeth? Either way. Knocking that man out cold. And then Bakugo let out a huge explosion, which in turn made Todoroki let out a huge fire blast towards the sky and to Dark Shadow to make him calm down. After that moment of both calming down, Tokoyami said thank you to them and apologized for Dark Shadow. They said it's alright, and Zuko told them, "Did you overhear what Mandalay say?" And they did. Zuko said, "Okay, let's head towards." He made the battle plans on how everybody should look, which Bakugo is in the middle, everybody else in the back and around him. And they went off. As they were going towards the camp, they overheard some more fighting, and with Zuko, without missing a beat, flew towards that area, leaving behind the group and fighting against Toga when the girls were fighting against her. Toga just barely cut Suyu's tongue, just a bit, and was commenting about being best friends and stuff, even the nickname. Till this point, Zuko came in, actually phased right through Toga, which Toga felt a cold chill down her spine. And she said, "Ooh, what was that?" And she looks down and sees Suyu is not there anymore. Zuko grabbed her at that moment, turned her intangible, phased through the very tree that they were stuck on, and moved over to where Oraka is. He appeared as well as Suyu. They look over to Toga, and Toga looks like she felt something new. She said this, "I never felt this way before. It's almost like someone stabbed me in the back. Who was that? Who?" And she feels so excited to see who it was, and she looks over to Zuko. Somewhat beaten down, and she sees some blood coming off his lips, and said, "Oh, and she's starting to think how cute he looks. And she said this out loud to Zuko. "Oh, you look so cute with some blood on you. How about we add some more?" As she thrust towards him with a huge blade in her hands, about to slice down. At this moment, Oraka came by, grabbed the knife, pinned her around, and make her pinned down to the ground, which Oraka said, "Got you." Zuko asked if anybody has any rope or paper or fabric, and they said no, which Zuko proceeded to take off his shirt and rip it up to make sure it tied around Toga's arm. As this was going on, something out of nowhere, a huge blue flame came by and pushing them, well, just close enough where they feel the heat. But Zuko grabbed onto Oraka and Suyu and turned them intangible. Just close enough where they felt the heat, but he made them phase through the fire. When the fire finally stopped, Toga took this chance and ran as far as she could and made her disappear out of nowhere. Zuko was a little tired by this point, after finding those two now, and that fire was so close of hitting Oraka and Suyu, asking them if they were alright, and they say they are, asking him where he's at or why he's here, and Zuko explained as the group comes by, and said, "I'll let them explain," as he take a breather and breathe. As they're explaining about everything, Tsuyu says, so why is Bakugo not here? As they comment, what are you talking about? He's right. As they see that Bakugo is gone, they're looking around until they finally looks up and see that Compress has 2 marbles in his hand, mocking him that he has caught their friends, and start flying away. Zuko at this moment sees what's going on, asks Tsuyu to help him throw him higher. He's a little tired right now as he's breathing heavily, and Raka actually helped him as well. Tsuyu grabs him around with her tongue and starts swinging him, with Oraka already activating her quirk onto him, made him float, and with the force of Tsuyu's throw, made him go toward Compress fast enough where Zuko can finally grab onto him and pin him down to the ground, and using his ghostly powers, flying straight down into the ground, even harder than in canon, not leaving a dent or a crater, but a huge mold of Compress in the ground. And Compress spits out the 2 marbles. Zuko grabbed both of them and crushed them. Hopefully that'd be the best way to let them out, but only Tokuyami came out. And Zuko is looking around trying to find Bakugo, and he couldn't find him at all. Until Compress finally getting up after that huge interruption and got a huge fire blast towards Deku's back, and Deku felt the cold chill in his spine, immediately turned intangible, and surprising them both that Zuko survived that huge fire blast, as he's still standing there unscathed by the fire. Compress shows the marble of Bakugo. Bakugo appears and see that Dobby grabbed him on his neck and slowly disappeared, like in the show. Zuko immediately runs towards him, using up so much of his power, all to the point where he just barely touched the portal. And he went down screaming out loud that he could not catch Bakugo or save him. And he feels so much regret, pain, agony, that he starts screaming out loud. At this point, the League of Villains told all the normals that were in the area to retreat, but they couldn't go back. All the villains that were there that were still fighting did not hear this, because they were hearing a huge yell. And it was just a regular yell until it started to echo throughout the whole forest, and the source was Zuko. Zuko, with this anger, so much pain, and don't know what to do with so much holding him back, he finally let out a huge ghostly howl, which scared the death, so much fear into all of the villains, even the heroes, even the students, knowing where that came from, tried to cover their ears. And the ones that couldn't cover, the ones that didn't know, immediately go blank. They couldn't function correctly. They couldn't get out of there. They just stood there in fear of what could happen. And this gave the heroes a chance to knock them out completely. And that's when the story ends. After a few hours, Zuko finally wakes up in the hospital room and learns that Bakugo got away and got kidnapped. And he was out for a few hours. The doctor told the students, everybody that's in the classroom, told Zuko that because of his ghostly howl, he struck fear into the villains enough where they can escape. And some of them are telling their part of their story that they were attacked by a Nomu, and those Nomu immediately, when they heard that, and they covered his classroom, cover their ears. But the Nomus immediately stopped what they were doing and ran away. So they're bowing down to Zuko, saying thank you for it. But Zuko just sits there in the bed and said, I didn't save everybody. I couldn't save Bakugo. I couldn't save him. Which Kirishima and Denki comes by and tells them, dude, we'll get him back. We'll find a way to get him back. We are not letting this go unchecked. And Zuko kind of smiles to them, but how? We can't. I don't. Do they have any leads? Do the heroes have any leads to find him? And they don't. Until Momo came by and said, well, actually, and she gave her story and said, I can make another one. And Zuko said, great, okay, let's do that. But she said, I can't make another one. I used too much of my lipids for the training to make another. Zuko said, okay. As with all this excitement, adrenaline rush that just pumped into his veins once again was too much, and he went right back to sleep. 3 days has passed. He finally awakened, and everybody else was happy to hear this. They were coming by after everything and decided to stay in his room, waiting for him to wake up again. But mostly it was about 10 of them. The rest of them went back home. Even Invisible Girl, Hakakure, actually stayed there right by his side, and holding his hand, hopefully hoping that he will wake up soon. Even they were given the notification that he was just out of adrenaline and couldn't handle the pain that he went through. But they did not care. They stayed and watched over him. Now, finally, he wakes up after those 3 days. The heroes have already found the area and making a plan for it. Everybody's getting ready and was deciding to do it tonight. Which Momo, now having enough energy, showed Zuko where exactly he's at. And Zuko said, okay, this may be a crazy plan, but let's go get him. Let's go get Bakugo back. Which now both Denki, Kirishima agreed to immediately. Ida said, I'll go with you. I have some personal reasons to go with you. Zuko said thank you. He looks over to Momo if she could make the device to find him exactly. She said she can, but you guys don't know how to use them, so she volunteered herself to go along with them. And Hakakure, Zuko looks over to Hakakure. Hakakure was about to say she would come along with them, but Zuko asked her, please, don't. I have one friend already missing. I don't want to lose you. Which gave them the idea, I couldn't think of what it was, to leave the room at that moment. Which Hakakure is now yelling and screaming at Zuko that this is a very dangerous mission. She wants to be there for him, but Zuko asks her, no. Can you please? He's being very calm about this, which really is scaring Hakakure because she thinks that he's ready to die for something like this. And she's trying to yell at him to listen with reason, but Zuko tells her, listen, I need someone to be there with my mother. I'm not sure if she can take this anymore. Which Hakakure, well, said, but I don't know where you. I. She gives up and said, okay, where is she? Zuko said, okay, right here. I know what I said. Don't put in the comments what I said. I know what I said. It doesn't change. I'm not gonna change it. Zuko direct her towards this area and ask her to stay there until someone in green-ish with white hair comes by. Tell them that I sent you there. And Zuko put in the code that only him and his sister or mother know. And she went off with this note, immediately running towards that area. Zuko and the rest of the crew decide to go. Moving on to Zuko's point of view. They decide to put on a disguise for this very mission. This on the right is Denki, Kirishima, and so on. They try to act tough and almighty, but same thing as always. It looks cringy as heck. Momo directed them to the source, where Bakugo is now at. Bakugo is getting the treatment of getting beaten and tried to be persuaded to join the League of Villains. But Bakugo chuckles and says, you messed with the wrong man. You have no idea what you just put yourself into. And he keeps saying this over and over again to a point where even some of them are starting to get scared on who he's talking about. They think it's All Might and they know that they can beat him. Zuko and Baku said, no, it's not All Might. It's someone else. You have no idea his true power is. As he just stays there and waits quietly until they hear a knock. And it was the pizza delivery man. They look to themselves, asking who delivered pizza, as they are about to open the door, and then it bursts through the wall with All Might. In his glory, scared the villains so much and destroyed the building that Bakugo was captured. Moving on to Zuko, seeing what's going on, seeing that a huge explosion came from the building, thinking it's a Bakugo, but turns out it was All Might. And then a black figure came out of the building into a neighborhood, destroying every single building that was there, making a huge rubble, a huge dust cloud coming up out of nowhere. And when it finally settles, it shows All for One. And some of the big League of Villains was appearing out of black goop. They decided to run off. And some of the cops were trying to get them, but All for One did a huge swipe with some other quirk, pushing back each and every hero and cops out of the way to make sure that the League of Villains get away. Now, Zuko sees this play out of All Might and All for One in the ground. And he sees All Might looking straight at All for One and Bakugo, glancing over at both of them, making sure that they're both at the same spot he thinks. And when Zuko sees this, tells everybody to make a plan, a best way to catch Bakugo. He's in the way for All Might. And they makes a plan. If it's in canon, Zuko actually stays behind, pushing everybody up into the sky, and tells them to wait at this moment and he immediately grabs onto Bakugo, tells him sorry, and immediately swing with enough force by one for all in his body and fling him towards the sky. Thinking that Bakugo would be safe, immediately tried to make his presence unknown, almost disappearing out of thin air. But his friends grab onto Bakugo, making sure he's secured safely, and they're flying away. Back on to that scene. It's shown on TV, the fight between All Might and One for All. And that little explosion and a group of kids flying away caught the eye for everybody, especially on the other side. Moving back a few minutes before into someone else's point of view of Hakakure. Hakakure was told to be standing in front of a house in a blue door and just wait for someone. As she waited and waited, see someone coming by, and it's Izumi. Asking her if she's Izumi, she said yes. What's going on? And Hakakure said, it's about Zuku or Deku. He told me to come by for you. Which Zumi said, oh, okay. Are you... Huh. Well, a very nice lady, a little pretty girl you are. Come on, I'll take you in. As she takes Hakakure into the gate, passing through all the mazes, which Hakakure sees all of this, but immediately fades right through the walls, asking if this is her quirk, which Zumi said, no, it's not my quirk. I'm quirkless, actually. Which, Hakakure said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to introduce myself, but I'm Hakakure. I'm a classmate of your son's, and Zumi said, son? Oh, you mean Izuku? Oh, yeah. You got the wrong idea. He's not my son. He's my brother, actually. And Zumi explained that why Zuko actually say mother instead of her sister, which now she's understanding. Hakakure is getting to see exactly where Zuko lives. In a house that's so normal, it's almost plain. And she looks outside and sees a huge acre, a huge land going as far as she can see of graves on the right, left, forward, everywhere. Asking, is this where you guys really live? Isn't it a little scary? And Zumi said, no, not really. Zuko is very friends with everybody here. She kind of like glances to all the ghosts in the room. She actually explained to Hakakure, with living with Zuko for so long, I somehow was given a sense of if there were ghosts in our house or not. A few of them are here right now. And at this moment, Hakakure explained what Zuko was planning, and Zumi said, should have known that he would do something like that. Okay. She opened up one of the envelopes, as in plot, convenience, turn on the TV, turn to this very channel, and watch. Hakakure sees what's going on, seeing the very image of some kids flying away with Bakugo out of the screen, and seeing two men, All Might and some guy in a suit, getting ready for a fight. And Zumi said, it's okay. He's safe, I think. And this is where we end this part. I'm so happy you guys have listened to this part. Did not expect it to be this long. I think I'm losing my mind, but I'm not sure. And I hope you guys enjoy. Alright then. Bye.